Welcome to this tutorial, and in this video I'll be showing you how to cut a sleeveless corset gown with a bishop collar, and I'll go straight to that. I'll start with the markings of the neck. The neck is actually a 3.5 inches by 3 inches neck, so I'll be marking 3.5 inches downwards, and I'll be marking 3 inches on the side, and I'll be joining both points with a curve, and that will be our neck curve. I'll mark 7.5, which is our back measurement, come down by 1 inch. Then I'll be joining to the tip of the neck with a broken line, and that will be the slant that will contain our back measurement. I'll go straight to the chest line. I'll mark 8.5 inches from the top. After marking twice, I'll be joining with a line, and that line would be our chest line. I'll go straight to the marking of the underbust. The underbust is actually 13.5 inches, but I'll be marking 14 because half inch will also be chopped off on the shoulder when joining the front and the back piece. Our half length is 17.5 inches because we are working with somebody who is very tall, so I'll be marking 18.5 instead, because half inch will be chopped off on the shoulder when joining the front and the back, and half inch will be chopped off when joining the top and the down part of this corset gown. That would account for the extra 1 inch. For our back, I'll take 8 inches, take the perpendicular measurement, transfer it downwards and mark. I took 8 inches because half inch will be added to the 7.5 or sewing allowance. I'll divide that line into 2 like that, mark the midpoint, come forward by 1, go to my back, come forward by 1.5. From the 1.5 inches point, I will join to the 1, then I will join downwards like that. So after joining, I will use my ruler to straighten out those lines. So with the help of my ruler and a curve, I will make that armhole curve like that. I'll go straight to the making of the corset. I'll mark my nipple to nipple measurement. The nipple to nipple measurement is 4 inches because it is actually 8 inches, but when you fold into 2, as we are working with a folded piece like this, you use 4 inches. But I just remembered I haven't taken my bust point. The bust point is actually 10.5, but I'll be marking 11 inches because half inch will be chopped off when you are joining the front and the back piece on the shoulder line. So those are my lines. The first one is the chest line, the next one is the bust point line, the third one is the under bust line, and the fourth one is the half length line. So after drawing out my nipple to nipple line, I'll work on it. On the under bust, I'll take 1 inch on both sides. Then from the bust point, I came down by half inch, and from that half inch point, I'll join to the both 1 inch like that. I'll transfer that 1 inch downwards as well. Make a straight line to the 1 inch I transferred downwards. All this I'm doing now is just to create my corset. I haven't created any darts. So I'll come up by half inch, go sideways by 1 inch as well on both sides. Then from my bust point, I will come up by 1 inch instead. Then I will make a curve from those sideways points to the upward 1 inch point. Then I'll use my curve to actually join both. Now I will be explaining some things that are very important. So I marked half inch on that chest line. I come down by half inch again, then mark half inch. So half inch downwards, half inch from the beginning. Then I make a curve to that tip like that. I would also make a curve to the down part like that. But I want that angle to be sharp. I want there to be an angle. So I'll use a ruler to straighten that part like that. Because when you are joining both curves, if there is no angle, it won't work. So for that part, I'll also use my ruler to make a line to create an angle on that down part. So I'll take the measurement of the cup, transfer it to the other side, then I'll join as well. So from that point, I also join downwards, but I want an angle, so I'll use my ruler to draw a straight line. Now after making my cups like that, I will check if both of my cups would actually be of the same measurements. That is very important because when you are joining, you want both. But I discovered the first one was 6 inches and the second one was 5.5 inches. So I have to reduce the second one into the first one rather into 5.5 inches. So I'll just reduce the curve like that. Because pattern drafting, you must also cut, when doing your pattern drafting, you must also consider the sewing. So both needs to join to be exactly the same thing. So I just mark out the shaded part, but now I'll be creating my dart. So I'll take 1/2 inch on both sides, then I will join to the tip like that. So I told you earlier, what I was doing before was just to create my cup. This 1/2 inch I took on both sides is the actual dart on that down line now. So I'll be shading all the part I'll be cutting off, the unwanted part. Now there will be an opening on the center of the chest, so I will mark 1.5 inches upwards. Then I will make a curve to meet that yoke like that. Then I would also shade that part, because that part will also actually be cut off. So the neck part will be cut off. And I'll also shade the dart part. I'll start taking on my horizontal measurement from the tummy. The tummy is actually 30 inches. Dividing that by 4, we should get 7.5 inches. I'll mark 7.5. Take the measurement of the shaded part, which is 3 inches. Add it, and also add 1/2 inch for our sewing allowance. I'll go to the chest line, divide it by 4, mark, take the measurement of the shaded part, add it, then also add 1/2 inch for sewing allowance. And I'll be making a curve from the chest to the tummy. I'll mark 8 inches on both sides to start the creation of the down part. And I'll join both points with a line, and that line would be our hip line. Next thing I'll do will be to take the full length of the gown. So I'll mark 40 inches on both parts. The gown is actually above the knee, so it was 39.5 inches. I'm marking 40 because 1/2 inch will be chopped off when you are joining the down to the upper part on that waistline. I would also be adding 1 inch to the down line, and that will be for the folding of the down line. So that 3 inches shaded part, I will transfer it vertically downwards like that, and that would be where all our measurements will start from. And this is a technique I created myself. I was just thinking of how to make your cut one cut for your upper and your down part when making a corset, so that waist will remain the same. Then the hip will start from that 3 inches point. You divide by 4, which is 10, and also add 1/2 inch for sewing allowance. Then you transfer that hip measurement to the down part, only you will not be adding 1/2 inch because you want it a little bit pencil. So I'll make a curve from the tummy to the hip, then to the down part of the gown. Now for our dart, since the upper part dart was 1/2 inch on both sides, which is 1 inch, I'll be marking 1 inch away from that 3 inches mark, and that will be responsible for our dart of the down part. So I will decide the position of the dart when I'm done cutting the upper part. Next, I'll be going to the cutting of the back piece of the top. So I'll be using this pattern paper for the back piece of the top. It is really straightforward. For the back piece of the top, the first thing is to mark 2 inches for our zipper allowance. Remember, the zipper allowance for the down part was reduced from 3 inches to 2 inches by making provisions for that. So I'll be taking my half length, which is 18.5 inches. Remember I explained 17.5, half inch for the top, half inch for the down part while cutting the front part. I would also take my chest line 8.5 inches from the top, and I'll be making a straight line. Then I'll also come down by 1.5 inches, then mark 3 inches on the other side, make a curve, and that'll be the neckline of the back. I'll mark 7.5 for the back, come down by 1 inch, then make a slant line to the tip of the neck, and that'll be where I'll be taking my back measurement. I'll take my back measurement, which is 8 inches, that is 7 plus a half inch. Take the perpendicular measurement, transfer it to the chest measurement, then join both points with a straight line. I'll be dividing that into two, taking the center point, coming forward by 1 inch, and also coming forward by 1.5 from the back line, then joining to the chest line like that. Then I'll be marking out other lines as well. I'll go straight to the chest, take the chest measurement divided by 4, mark, come to the tummy, divided by 4, mark, add 1 inch for that and half inch for both for the sewing allowance. Then I'll be using that part of the front piece to join the back piece as well, because you'll be joining the front to the back and you want both to be exactly the same shape. So I'll fold before I cut. So after folding on the zipper line, I'll cut off the back piece. Now to get the dart of the back piece, I'll be using the dart of the down piece to create that of the upper part. So I'll just fold, place both side by side, take the positions of the dart or the upper part, then I'll take the measurement of the center part, transfer it to the chest line, use a line to join both points, then I'll take half inch on both sides like that. And that is the final piece of the puzzle. So I've succeeded in creating my front and my back piece for the corset gown.